Hello everyone. In the previous class we have discussed about the intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors, and also we have discussed n-type semiconductor and p-type semiconductors. So we'll continue from the previous class. So in today's class we are going to discuss conductivity and mobility, that is drift of carriers in electric and magnetic field. Under that we are going to discuss the conductivity and mobility. So there are two figures here. The figure 1 shows the random thermal motion of an electron in a solid. So if you consider a single electron, so how it is moving randomly in any solid. So that is, there is no exact direction, or there is no there is a probability of the starting point of the electron may not again come after some time. So the random momentum of a electron is shown in the first figure, and then the second figure, the well directed drift velocity with an applied electric field. So the second figure shows the electric field. So exactly the well directed drift velocity with an applied electric field. So as you can see, the epsilon x, so that is the electric field direction, whereas the movement of electrons, the velocity of a electron is exactly in the opposite direction. So as we know, velocity, drift velocity, you can denote it as Vd, or here in this case as the x direction it is shown, it is Vx. Vx is directly proportional to the electric field, that is drift velocity is directly proportional to the electric field. If you remove the proportionality, then it becomes Vx is equal to mu into epsilon x, where mu is the mobility. So as we are going to consider an electron is going to move in the opposite direction of the applied electric field. So we can take a negative sign. That's why Vx is equal to minus mu n into epsilon x, where Vx is the drift velocity, mu n is the mobility of charge carrier, that is mobility of electron, here mu n stands for, and epsilon x is the electric field applied in the x direction. So the charge carriers in a solid are in constant motion even at the thermal equilibrium. The charge carriers, that may be an electron or it may be a hole, if you consider a semiconductor, but if you consider a metal, it is only a electron. So the charge carrier in a solid are going to be in a constant motion even at the thermal equilibrium. So at the, if you consider room temperature, for example, the thermal motion of an individual electron may be seen as a random scattering from lattice vibrations, impurities, or other electrons and some defects. So that is shown in the figure number 1. So this is the random momentum of the electrons is because of the lattice vibrations. The reasons for the random momentum or random scattering of the electron because of the lattice vibrations, impurities. So whatever the doping process we are going to use, the impurities are added to make it either type of the semiconductor, then some other electrons or some defects in the lattice. All because of these reasons, there is a possibility of the random scattering of electrons. Since the scattering is random, there is no net motion of the group of n electrons per centimeter cube over any period of time. So but this is not correct, this is not true of an individual electron. So I was talking only about the single electron. So this is not true about an individual electron. Of course, the probability of an electron as shown in the figure 1, the probability of the electron that is going to be returning to the its starting point. As you can observe, there is a starting point and it is moving randomly, very randomly. You can take any kind of random momentum. So a probability of electron that is going to return to its starting point after some point of time t is very small, negligibly. It is almost equal to 0. That means there is no possibility of the electron that again comes back to its original position or the starting point. However, if you are going to consider a large number of electrons, if you consider, as because of in semiconductor there is the quantity of electrons is very large. If you consider a large number of electrons, then for example in the n type of semiconductor you have 10 to the power 16 centimeter 10 to the power 16 per centimeter cube. So this is the quantity of electrons in a n type semiconductor. So if you consider the, such kind of large number of electrons, then there will be no preferred direction of motion for the group of electrons. Hence there is no net current flow. So the current flow is 0. If an electric field epsilon x is applied, so that is shown in the figure number 2. So if the electric field epsilon x is applied in the direction, each electron experiences a net force. So as you know, if the electric field is applied in x direction, then electron experiences a net force. So that is given by minus q into epsilon x from the field. So this force may be insufficient to alter the random path of the individual electron. So this force is not going to be sufficient. It is insufficient to alter the random path. So the scattering of electron or the random path of an individual electron. So the effect when it is going to be averaged over all the electron. So if this effect is going to be taken as an average for all the electrons, then but it's a net motion of the group in the minus x direction. So that is shown in the figure number 2. If px is the x component of the total momentum, the same thing is explained here, whatever that I have just explained in these slides. If the px is the x component of the total momentum of the group, the force of the field on the n electron per centimeter cube is given by minus n q epsilon x is equal to dpx by dt. You can name this as a equation number 1. So the equation is given as minus n q epsilon x is equal to dpx by dt. So the net acceleration is just balanced. The net acceleration is just balanced in steady state by decelerations of the collision process. So initially the above equation number 1 seems to indicate the continuous acceleration of the electrons in the minus x direction, but this is not the case because the net acceleration that is shown in the equation number 1 is just balanced in steady state by the deceleration of the collision processes. Therefore, while the steady field epsilon x is going to produce a net momentum p suffix minus x, the net rate of change of momentum when collisions are included, that must be 0 in the case of steady state current flow. Now, to find the total rate of momentum change from collisions, we must see that the collision probability more precisely or more closely. If the collisions are truly random, whatever the electrons that are moving in the cross sectional area, so if you consider those electrons momentum, so they may collide each other, so at any time, so it is a random collision. So if we consider the collisions are very random, there will be a constant probability of collisions at any time for each electron. Now let us consider a group of n naught electrons at time t is equal to 0. That's why the n electrons is taken as n naught. So at time t equal to 0, and define n of t as the number of electrons that have not undergone a collision by time t. So the rate of decrease in n of t at any time t is proportional to the number left unscattered at t. So that is given in the equation form as minus d n of t by dt is equal to n of t by tau. So name it as equation number 2. So here tau is called as mean free time. It represents the mean time between the scattering events and is called as mean free time. It is a constant of proportionality. It is the average time before a randomly picked electrons make its next collision. As collisions are very random, so as we have seen, the electrons may collide each other very randomly. As because of the collisions are also random, it does not depend on the elapsed time since prior collision. So the equation number 2 is a first order differential equation whose solution is given by n of t is equal to n naught into e to the power minus t by tau. So name it as equation number 3. So to find the total rate of momentum change from collisions, we must investigate the collision probabilities. So if the collisions are random, there will be a constant proportionality of a collision at any time for each electron with the definition of the mean free time between collisions. The probability that the electron has a collision in a time dt is given by dt by tau. So the differential change in a momentum is given by dpx is equal to minus px into dt by tau. And the rate of change of momentum due to the decelerating effect is given by dpx by dt is equal to minus px by tau. Now in steady state, the sum of acceleration and deceleration is 0. So that is minus px by n minus n q into epsilon x, that is equal to 0. So the average momentum per electron is minus px by n is equal to minus tau q epsilon x. So name it as equation number 4. You can calculate the average velocity of an electron and is equal to Vx equal to minus tau into q into epsilon x by m asterisk sign. So name it as equation 5, whereas here m asterisk is a effective mass. Actually the individual electron move in many directions by thermal motion during a given time period. So as we know, the individual electron can move in any of the given direction or in a multiple direction or in many direction by a thermal motion for the given period of time. But as according to the equation number 5, it tells us that the net drift of an average electron in response to the electric field. The drift speed described is usually much smaller than the random speed due to the thermal motion. So the current density because of this drift velocity is given by, now this is the equation for the current density, that is drift velocity. Current density because of the drift velocity is given by the current density Jx equal to minus of q n into Vx. So the units of those can be written as, so current density is nothing but it is ampere per centimeter square. Ampere per centimeter square is equal to coulomb per electron, that is the unit of the charge q. So current density Jx, its unit is ampere per centimeter square. Charge q is given by coulomb per electron, and electrons n, number of electrons, electron per centimeter cube, and the velocity is measured in centimeter per second. So substituting for the drift velocity Vx, we get Jx equal to tau n q square by m asterisk into epsilon x. So that is equation number 6. We see that the current density is proportional to the electric field. Current density is proportional to electric field. So this is according to the Ohm's law. Remember this. So Jx is equal to sigma into epsilon x. So according to Ohm's law, it is simply written as the current density Jx is equal to sigma into epsilon x. So name it as equation number 5. Now we can define the conductivity. So conductivity is denoted as sigma. So sigma is equal to tau n into q square by m asterisk. So that is equal to n into q into mu n. So name it as equation number 8, and its unit is ohm per centimeter. So the mobility of electron. What is mobility? How the electron is going to move. What is the speed of the electron? So that is the mobility of electron, and it is denoted as mu n. And mu p is the mobility of a hole. So mu n is equal to q into tau by m asterisk from equation number 5. From equation number 5, this is also equal to velocity Vx by the electric field epsilon x. So that is the ratio of drift velocity to the electric field. So a lighter particle has higher mobility. So the mobility describes the ease with which electron drift in the material. So what is the definition of the mobility? Mobility is nothing but how much easily the electron is going to drift in the given material is nothing but a mobility. So mobility is very important quantity in characterizing semiconductor materials and in device development. Now let us see the effective mass. So when responding, for example, to the external forces, so whenever the external force is applied, The effective mass determines how quickly a particle will accelerate, how fast or what is the speed of that particular electron whenever external force is applied. So it can be either heavier or lighter than the true mass of an electron. So it will be different for different energy bands. So that is given as m asterisk equal to 1 upon 3 into 1 upon ml plus 1 upon mt. 1 upon ml plus 2 upon mt, where ml is the mass in longitudinal direction and mt is the mass in the transversal direction. Thank you for watching the video.